Not only his first performance, but he's got to close the show. So let's get some noise. Don't move. Make it move up. Give it up for Dan, everybody.
How does this work? Here we go. Okay. Hello, London. How are we? What's happening? What's happening? My name's Graham, and as you can probably tell, I am not from around here. I moved to London 4 years ago. People told me that London is not a friendly place, but folks, I've had the warmest welcome since I arrived here, so thank you, lovely people of London. I appreciate it, I appreciate it. We do, however, have some communication issues, particularly around one word. My name. Graham. 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 I was clearer than me. People just do not understand it. They really struggle with my name. Statistically, in this room, 5 of you will be following me, 10 of you will have no idea, and the rest of you will be wondering why I've just been making dog noises into the microphone this early in the set. Graham, hopefully you're following. Okay. So, I grew up in a place called Paisley in Scotland. I wasn't anticipating the cheer. I like it. Paisley's famous for 3 things. Pillorytini, the Paisley pattern, and back in the day, it's thread mills. Now, by the time I arrived, it was less thread and needle and more just needle. Heroin capital of the UK, 1988, the year I was born. And I can tell you folks, in Glasgow and the west of Scotland, there is some stiff competition for that accolade. So, some good shooting from Paisley around that time, I tell you. Yeah, so Paisley was a rough place, right? Real battle for survival at school, and it was so important that you had your friends around you to kind of get you through. You know, you really needed that support, and I was lucky. I did have some great friends, you know. The troops, that's what you call your pals back home, you know, like, all right, troops, how's it going? So I think gives you a sense of people that are there to protect you, you know, that will go into battle for you know, fight off the enemy. We were sort of 4 asthmatics with growing pains, so we were sort of less keep calm and carry on, more sort of shut yourself and run away kind of guy. So that was our vibe. But listen, I survived school, and I got to my first job, age 16. The Morrison's Wines and Spirits Department. You guys know it, right? So back home, right, the drinking culture is pretty mega, right? So this is less a retail role, more like a matter of national security, right? You're protecting Paisley's crown jewels there. So proud moment for the family, proud moment for me as well, right? So first day walking out onto that aisle, you know, I put perfect pristine white shirt out onto that hallowed turf, you know. I was like stepping out centre court at Wimbledon, it was beautiful, you know. Wasn't all strawberries and cream though, folks. First week, saw a woman in the aisle crying. She was in a terrible state. So I rushed up to her and said, what's wrong? And she bawled her eyes out and said, I've lost my mum. And I said, well, listen, you know, any good Morrison's employee would do. I was straight over, put an announcement out over the tannoy to say, poor woman's lost her mum, for God's sake, you know, get over here. I think you can see where I'm going with this, folks. Her mum had died. God rest her soul, but that is why mums go to Iceland. So. Thank you. By this point, though, I'm kind of growing up, right? I'm into my 20s. Attention soon turns to trying to meet a woman in my life, right? So, but that's a tough time, right? So it's like, what should your chat be? What do you wear? You know, how do you make an impact? You know, turn to the troops for some advice. You know, 4 mid-20s virgins were never the best counsel. okay. I did okay. I met a few women along the way. I did. It's not funny. Like, this is the serious part. Right? So I met a few women along the way, but I did get some troubling feedback. I was told that when I was, entering into like, scenes of a sexual nature, shall we say, that I had the face of a man who looked like he was being sporadically tasered. And I'm going to open up to you here, folks. This is tough, right? I'm going to open up to you. I had a bit of a foreskin issue. It was a little bit more tight than it was supposed to be, right? It was causing a bit of pain as you're having, so you can probably follow it, right? So, proactive young man that I was, I decided after 30 years of coexisting rather dysfunctionally with said foreskin that I was going to do something about it. And I took the plunge. I got circumcised. Not for religious reasons, not even really for medical reasons, but for pure customer satisfaction. It was a hell of an experience, I've got to say. Very painful, but the worst part of it, by far, was trying to explain in work why I needed that time off work. It's not like you can kind of rock up to the printer and say, "Morning, Sandra, great to see you. You've just been off getting the package improved the last 4 days, but it's right as rain now." Yeah. Doesn't really work like that. So, told a little bit of a white lie. Told them that I was actually getting a mole removed. Make it a kind of panic moment, but so a bit worried about how that was going to land. So returned to work and was met with a wall of sympathy. They thought I had survived a near cancer sort of incident. Sandra rocks up to me at the printer and said, "Oh, Graham, you're so brave." Fucking right I am, Didn't know the half of it. But by this point, folks, I'd come through a lot, out the heroin-ravaged hometown, I'd serenaded the dead over a tannoy and lost my job, and I'd streamlined my sexual performance. It was time for me to level up, and I decided I need to meet the woman of my dreams. I am going to go to London to do that. The bright lights, the big city. I was going to meet women from every corner of the globe, all different shapes and sizes. My girlfriend's from Paisley. She grew up 10 minutes from where I was born. But I tell you something, folks, nothing turns me on more than somebody who can understand my name. Thank you.
Did Graham just take that home or what? Crushing it! Closing the show with foreskin material! That's advanced technique right there, Graham. That is advanced technique. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the showcase. Of course, give it up for all the acts that performed here. And one more time for the teacher, the genius, Mr. Ben Target, everybody. Taking us through this course. I've been Russell Hicks. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Hugo from Markville, everybody.